Just the second team ever to make it to 4 straight Super Bowls. And after just finishing the greatest 3-year stretch in NFL history, they're going to try to have the greatest 4-year stretch in NFL history. But to do that, they're going to have to make it to and win the Super Bowl. Coach Mangini is joining us to give his offseason keys on how KC can make it to the Super Bowl 60. Try to be as unbiased as I was in the setup, Coach. Go right ahead.
Yeah, that was quite a setup. I know we're
Yeah, I wanted to isolate that nice little clip, and I want to combine it with this clip because this is what the Philadelphia Eagles saved us all from. They literally saved sports talk from more intense, nonsensical takes like we just saw right there, which Nick even essentially admitted about being biased right there.
This team for you?
I think they were excellent, and they peaked at the right time. I don't want to take a damn thing away from them.
Yeah.
6 sacks with no blitzes. Like, it's insane. You're toast if that's the case.
It was the worst fear if you're a Chiefs fan because you were already nervous about your line. Mahomes was awful. Hurts was really good. Hurts didn't just outplay Mahomes. Like, he badly outclassed Mahomes, which I thought was pretty nuts. The lesson for me, and this was the single worst game to talk about ever since we've been doing this, almost the analysis didn't matter because it all came down to, well, the Eagles are better really everywhere. But, you can't go against the Chiefs. Like that was literally including me and including you. It was like, so now I feel like we're back. Now we can analyze football games correctly again. And now we can actually have takes because the Chiefs had kind of ruined it. How good.
Yeah, now we can actually have takes. I was actually having takes, and I tried to interact with people that wanted to have like actual takes, but it was hard out there. And, it really was ruining sports talk shows and just general discussion amongst fans. And again, you can see the parallels to what, they were just saying, as well as now how kind of Nick opened it. They're constantly trying to be like the most historic team, the greatest 3-year stretch we've ever seen, the greatest 4-year stretch we've ever seen. And this constant heightening of what we're seeing, and any questioning of said team, it's, how dare you, this is unbelievable. And the massive trump card that would have been, well, the Kansas City Chiefs, they three-peated, Patrick Mahomes three-peated, no one has ever done that in the history of the universe. We would never be able to have a real conversation. Patrick Mahomes could open the season with 10 interceptions and 0 touchdowns, and the Kansas City Chiefs could be 0-5, and Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson could have 20 touchdowns, and somehow they started the season 15-0 because they played 15 games, and the Chiefs only played 5, and they would still say, no, the Kansas City Chiefs can't count them out. Patrick Mahomes is still better. This, that, and the third. Like, and it just was ruining sports talk. It was ruining just even the interaction that we have as fans with each other, whether in person, whether online, in the comment section. And we already know, fan, interactions can already get pretty dicey in the comment section. We all know that from direct personal experience, and which is a bummer, honestly, because I really believe that we're all part of this massive community. And I don't even mean just this channel, as I always talk about trying to build a community, but just being a sports fan in general. It's a community. It's a community. We're all having this shared experience with people literally across the world. Like, it's actually pretty wild. I can go to a doctor or go to, the grocery store, wherever, and you're making small talk and be like, oh, did you watch the Super Bowl? Oh, did you see? Oh, you're a Buffalo Bills fan? Oh, I'm a Ravens fan. Like, and like, it's just, you're all part of this collective experience. And it's awesome when it's rooted in real conversation and reality, and we kept getting further and further away from reality. And we can appreciate the greatness of the Kansas City Chiefs. We can appreciate the greatness of Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Spags, Kelsey, etc., etc. But it was becoming this mythological Marvel superhero MCU type thing that was no longer enjoyable, at least for me. And I know a lot of other people felt that way. And this past season was such a great example of that. It was like, if you said anything shy of the Kansas City Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes being the greatest thing ever, it was just like, you have no idea what you're talking about. And then being exposed week after week after week to just the automatic, well, you can't bet against the Chiefs, rather than having real conversations about the Kansas City Chiefs, which is fun. You can still be a Kansas City Chiefs fan and still talk about some of the issues that they're having. Again, I've been very positive about the Ravens, the Bills, the Eagles, etc. Let's just use the Eagles as the example, where I, defended the Eagles, I praised the Eagles, I criticized the Eagles, because I had a full 360-degree conversation about the Eagles. So they were not perfect. They were not flawless. They did have moments. They did have games that were bad. They did have issues. They did have some drama. They did have this, that. It wasn't just 100%, well, they're the Philadelphia Eagles. They're a great team. They were in the Super Bowl in 22. They won the Super Bowl in 2017. They have the second most playoff wins in the last 25 years. I know they're going to put it together in the playoffs. It's like, well, that's not real analysis. That's not real conversation. And just like we saw the heightened version of that going into the Super Bowl, it was like, the Eagles have better receivers. The Eagles have a better O-line. The Eagles have better defense. Better. If you went up to the PFF, matchup things, the Philadelphia Eagles had significantly favorable matchups in every single aspect that you can compare it to, And it's not just head-to-head. It's not comparing Patrick Mahomes to Jalen Hurts. It's how will Patrick Mahomes fare against this defense, et cetera, et cetera. And yet it was still, well, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. And it's like, why, though? Why do you believe that? It's like, well, because they're the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like, well, that's not real. You can pick the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's why I made the argument when I was talking about that game. And again, this is not meant to just unpack the Super Bowl. This is just the conversation as a whole. It was like, listen, you have the players. I believe that the Philadelphia Eagles have the better roster. The question mark is technically the coaching. How will Kellen Moore and Fangio show up? We believe that the Kansas City Chiefs, especially Andy and Spags, earned the right to know that they're not going to be outcoached. Will that be enough to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, or will that roster be good enough? How good does the coaching need to be for the Eagles when you have a roster that great? Like, you can have these conversations and you could still reach the conclusion, you know what? I believe Kellen Moore is just going to be too overwhelmed in this Super Bowl, and I just think Spags is really going to be able to get after it. I just don't think Kellen Moore is going to be able to give Jalen Hurts the answers, in terms of what to do with some of the pressure he's going to face, the lack of run support from Saquon Barkley, et cetera, et cetera. That could be a completely acceptable, conclusion. But that's never what we got to. That's never what we got to. It was just, well, the Philadelphia Eagles are great, and they do all this great stuff, but they won't do it against the Kansas City Chiefs because the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's just like, that's how the conversation had been now for a while. And it was only going to get worse. And now there's balance back. And it's because the Philadelphia Eagles, especially because how the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Because if the game was just 28-24, 28-21, we would say the Eagles won, but they would just say, right, they peaked at the right time. Oh, if DeAndre Hopkins catches that ball, the score would have been 28-28. The Kansas City Chiefs have to get Patrick Mahomes a number one wide receiver. It's amazing that he was even able to get this far without one. They would just do that nonsense. But since they got absolutely demolished and dominated and embarrassed and humiliated, any other word you want to use, and the Eagles won so spectacularly, and the sheer fact that, the Kansas City Chiefs had I don't even remember the stats anymore. It was like 13 yards at halftime or just like something outrageous and like one first down or something. It's just pretty wild. It really forces everyone to be like, whoa, what did I just see? Because again, even throughout this season, if you ever talked anything negative about Patrick Mahomes, it was, yeah, you're just a doubter or a hater. Patrick Mahomes is guaranteed to play amazing and great in the playoffs. And it was like, the history doesn't even show that. And he goes, yes, it does. Look at all these rankings. He's number 1 and 2 and 1 and all this. And it's like, we need some context for some of this here. Because again, even someone like Nick Wright saying, why I expect Patrick Mahomes to be perfect in the Super Bowl. And it's like, why? He's never been perfect in the Super Bowl. He's going to be flawless. I don't think he's going to turn the ball over. Why? He actually has a ton of turnovers in his career in Super Bowls. And Nick was not an outlier in that. Obviously, I obviously do a lot of, first things first clips, but like Nick Wright was clearly not an outlier in that. Obviously, he's the most popular and famous and magnified and enhanced of that, but we saw that with everyone, quite frankly. And the Philadelphia Eagles really restored something that I really value, something that I think is so incredibly important in my own life, and what I love about sports is our ability to kind of treat sports like it matters so much, when at the end of the day, like, it actually like doesn't. There's really no lives at stake here, right? It's really not. It's really just fandom. It's entertainment in the purest sense. Whether Patrick Mahomes, won another Super Bowl, or Jalen Hurts got the MVP, or and so, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't actually matter. There's so many other things in this world that matter so much that there truly are stakes involved, like literally lives at stake. Your own personal well-being, your financial well-being, whatever it may be, there's actually stakes involved, and that's exhausting. And so to be able to have something like sports and now have these talk shows that we get to interact with more than the actual games themselves, making sure that they're still grounded, rooted in reality, and a source of entertainment and a source of fun and real unbiased conversation is so important for me, and I know it's important for a lot of other people. And again, the Philadelphia Eagles have saved that. They've preserved that. They preserved future conversations. People can still now kind of have the conversation, oh, is Patrick Mahomes better than Tom Brady? Would you rather have Mahomes or Tom Brady? You don't automatically say, well, Patrick Mahomes three-peated. Tom Brady never did that. He's better. He's the GOAT. You can't do that. Throughout this whole season now, we get to have real conversations about all of the teams, and not the automatic, well, we know the Kansas City Chiefs are going to win. We know Patrick Mahomes. We know this. Like, we get to have real conversation, not automatic bias, not automatic nonsense, not automatic undeserved 100% unconditional support and praise or hate, depending on what angle you're looking at. We get to have real, honest, grounded, genuine conversation. And it's just, I'm so grateful and so relieved for that, because throughout this whole year, throughout this whole offseason into next season, would be just brutal. And it was brutal for all the shows that I really love and that I like to watch. It's unfortunate when a whole season is weighted down by such intense bias. Even something like the Mahomes Mountain or the tiers, like, it would be so much more interesting and more fun to actually have them fluctuate in a way where you're just like, yeah, this team is playing really well right now and they deserve to be up here, rather than, well, this team did this back in 2019 and 22 and 23, so therefore they're never leaving. Patrick Mahomes, well, we know he's the best quarterback in the world. He's a Super Bowl champion, two-time Super Bowl MVP, or three-time Super Bowl MVP, but two-time reigning back-to-back MVP. No one's ever going to pass that. It's like, that's not fun. That's not interesting. That's not entertaining to me. Having a real conversation is. That's what draws me to sports talk shows. That's what draws me to wanting to make these videos. That's what draws me to the comment section, to have conversations. And again, the Philadelphia Eagles have saved and preserved that. And even like the Ringer said, where, he's like, listen, like we were not having real analysis about this game at all. And now we can kind of get back to that. And that's where so much of my passion and interest in sports lies. And I personally had felt, robbed of that, and I was concerned of what the future would look like, honestly. I was genuinely kind of concerned of just like, what are conversations going to continue to look like? We can't have real conversations about such massive aspects of, this current era of football and sports, and we're back. We are 100% back. There was a collective humbling and a collective recalibration, and I got nothing but gratitude. And again, thank the Philadelphia Eagles. Thank Jalen Hurts. Thank Cooper DeJean. Thank Fangio. Thank Kellen Moore. Thank Howie Roseman. Thank Jalen Carter. Thank A.J. Brown. Thank Devontae. Thank Lane Johnson, my lot. Thank every single Philadelphia Eagle. Thank the entire city. Thank the fan base. Thank Jeffrey Lurie. Thank an eagle in the sky, just thank them, because they saved sports. And I am not being dramatic. I am not over exaggerating. They saved sports, and they saved all of us from being able to actually experience real, genuine entertainment, and not constantly forcing us in this corner and just gaslighting us nonstop. So thank you, Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Philadelphia Eagles saving us and delivering real, true, honest, genuine, grounded sports talk back to us? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.